What a day it was for the Manly Sea Eagles, and that man on screen daily, Cherry Evans. We spoke about it in Freddie's Sunday Salute. A record-breaking game for him, becoming the most capped Manly Sea Eagle, and a great result for them as well, 32-18 over the Penrith Panthers. What did you make of this Manly performance?
Well, the Panthers got out, and I think I'm sitting at home going, well, they're just going to, churn another team out and just grind them away. But I thought Manly just ran harder, and on the back of Daly Cherry Evans' performance, they just quicker play the balls and end up scoring 32 points. That's a lot of points against Penrith.
Can't he move this guy, Tolu Kola?
He does it easy, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Geez, they look fit. They look really fit and strong, and I know they're winning. They look like a real happy mob. Their coaching staff, they're all really good fellas. Jimmy Dimmick and Anthony Seibold and these sort of guys. They're going really well.
There's a guy chasing there, and Dylan Edwards had a great game, but you see Nathan Brown in the background. When he came on the field, he really went after, the pack of the Penrith Panthers, in particular James Fisher-Harris. I thought he added a lot off the bench. And Daly, listening to Daly after the game, the opening month of football, he was really concerned and wanted to help his teammates play well. He had Luke Brooks in the halves with him, a new halves partner, Tom Trbojevic back.
What a great
but he just focused on himself in this game, and he wanted to go out there and get his game right and have some fun with his footy, and it looked like he really enjoyed himself out there.
Look at Jake. Jake's there. They, Olakau'atu, they get in a good field position, and then the best players play together. Cherry plays with Turbo. Cherry gets on the right side and plays with Olakau'atu. It's the name of the game. Get in field position and you get your best and creative players playing together.
Now, there was that one try that we saw there, Tolu Kola try. Now, Freddie, you were actually in the bunker. You were watching this game from the bunker, and there was some contentious thought around this one. What was happening in the bunker?
So I watched 2 games in the bunker, and when I first watched this, I said knock on. And then when they go through a system, there was David Fairley and a...
Bengaloo.
Bengaloo does do it, but he wasn't doing it. Grant Atkins, I'm pretty sure, was doing this game. And the ball went backwards. The amount of cameras they have 9 cameras access. There's a person in front who just sets it back a couple of tackles and gives them plenty of views at the actual play, what they're observing, and then when you watched it, it just went backwards. I sort of don't know how it went backwards, but it just, when he tried to pull the ball in, and when he did, it went backwards.
Well, the rotation of the ball was going back towards their try line, which is an indicator that the ball went back.
But straight away, I just went, no, knock on. But then once you watch it,
and I think
definite.
The majority of people watching, and history would say that that's a knock-on. We judge drop balls as knock-ons these days, and we've actually seen some captain's challenges overturn some knock-on calls because they've gone back, and this was one of them. It's why the whole rugby league, fraternity has gone, well, that's a knock-on, because it's been judged a knock-on for so long, but it actually goes back. So it might just change the perception of what a knock-on is.
What was the feeling like in the bunker? Was it high pressure? Was it...
Yeah, it's high pressure. I'll tell you when I got high pressure, because what happens is there's an announcement at the minute mark for the goal kickers, and that sort of... And every time I come in, I was thinking it was for the bunker, so I'm going, oh, come up with a decision, hurry. But they're very calm. They've got really good systems. The systems during the game where there might be a sort of a high-ish tackle and then the game rolls on, how...
Like the Latrell incident.
Like the Latrell incident. So what happened, what would have happened there was someone would have just said, well, I'll watch live play, and they keep watching the game. And then the other person they go back 2 tackles, then just go through the incident. They can go through on 9 cameras for every game. In State of Origin, they have 23 cameras to go through. So for that in grand finals, so you're not getting away with anything. Let me tell you, if you think you're a player and you're getting away with a face rub every now and then or a little high shot every now and then, it is getting watched every single time, without a doubt. And what they don't do is they don't overburden the referee with too much noise, which a lot of us feel like they are. The referee, I could hear, he only hears his touch judges. That's it. And then what happens, he has a coach come in after tries and stuff, has a bit of a yarn to him. So I've got to say, they do a brilliant job. It is very effective, how it all works. Obviously, the obstructions and stuff come down to decisions, and we didn't get many obstructions last night. But every time someone runs through the line, they're wind and tape back, checking out, making sure clearing things. So there's a lot going on.
Yes or
and they're
no?
doing a good
Manly
job.
win the comp? Can they win the comp? Yes or no?
Yes. With
Yes.
Turbo back there,
Yes.
yes.
I saw when they had a
Quick
few
one,
out the other
quick.
day. There was about 2 or 3 sitting on the sideline.
Quick, he's
They're
in me.
3 front rollers.
Yes or no?
Can they? Can
Yes.
they? Yes.
Got to be healthy.
They've never
Yeah.
had this
Everything's
depth.
got to go their way.
Yes. Yes, mate.
yes.
Sorry, Tom.
All right, let's quickly discuss the Dolphins and the Tigers game last night as well. The Dolphins on top of the ladder once again, 26-16 over the Tigers. What was your big takeaway from this one?
Well, in the 25th minute, they got 12-0. And I thought, well, they're going to get to 40. But I've got to say, the Tigers, they showed some fight and they showed some grit. But, impressed with the Dolphins. They played really well.
I thought the young halfback, young 20-year-old
He's a player, isn't
Isaiah Katoa, he's a real player.
Oh.
He controlled things with his kicking game, scored a try. They're doing a lot right, the Dolphins.
Couple
Few
of
injuries. Yeah, big
3
injuries.
injuries to key players.
Herbie Farnworth.
Felice
Release.
Kafusi did his hamstring, went too fast when he broke the line. Tom Flegler,
Flegler.
AC joint, and I think Herbie Farnworth looked in awful discomfort.
Shoulder injury for Herbie Farnworth. What about the fact that it was Wayne Bennett up against Benji Marshall in the coach's box for Master of
It
the
gives the
Apprentice?
media something to talk about, but it doesn't affect them.
I think at the moment watching the Tigers, they're very young. And I think, when you look at across their lineup and they play like that, the back end of halves, they fall away, although the Dolphins, the game for a period was in the balance of both halves and then the Dolphins just owned the back end of the halves. And that's like a maturity thing and fitness thing and coaching thing and a whole lot of things.
Big win last Monday as well. So short turnaround, get those emotions down and get back up. It's not easy to do for a young team.
Impressive win, a 34-4 win over the Rabbitohs. We spoke a little bit about the Rabbitohs earlier. We will get into it again, but I just want to ask you, Joey, someone who stood out for you, Wade Egan. You've been on the phone talking about him all morning. How impressed were you?
I was blown away. I actually spoke to 3 of the best dummy halves ever played. Benny Elias, he said he was an absolute superstar. Loved watching him play. Cameron Smith said he preserves the space and plays nice and direct. Danny Badira said he creates time and space for his players. The thing Danny Badira spoke about was his footwork at a dummy half. The subtleties, looking to go one way, coming back the other. He was just unbelievable.
And they've got a great combination. You think of those key
that
players.
footwork.
Tomato Martins is right there off his hip.
Hey.
You've got Sean Johnson right there.
Chance.
Nickel Kluckster.
Look at the spine.
They're right there with him. Those 4 players in particular, they're all on the same page, and that helps everyone play well. But he is a wonderful player, and that creates space for other people.
And Tohu Harris, he creates room from him.
That was a great visual at the end. Like, if you think about your spine, it's like a diamond. You've got your fullback, your hooker, and your 2. And when they scored that try, they were in that position perfectly. And most of their tries, when they went through, because a couple of them were through the middle, they were all in that shape. They were incredible.
Yeah, certainly some impressive players as well. And it was Chance Nickel Kluckster's first game after injury, and there was obviously discussion as well after Roger played at fullback last week. What did you make of Chance?
Sensational. Well, I was quite vocal saying Roger should play fullback. Well, once again, I'm wrong. And you know what? Take a leaf out of Roger's book. No whinging or carry on. He just goes back to centre. Team
Played
first.
wing. He ended up playing wing.
Team first.
So Webby ended up saying, Andrew Webster,
The coach.
before the game, the coach, he said, well, I just need to get the best players on the field. And that's how I get Chance and Roger on the field. Chance has got to be fullback.
They're dialed in. They can win the competition. Off the back of what they did last year, they pick up Kurt Capewell, Roger
Barnett.
Tuivasa.
Well, he was out. Kirk Cable didn't play.
Mitch
Yeah,
Barnett.
they had a whole heap of injuries in this game, but they're a squad, they're a team, they're a club. They've got support from outside the football department in terms of up the wires, and everyone loves the Warriors. If the Warriors make it through to the grand final, it'll be a huge occasion. And I think they can. I think they can win the comp.
Show us up there, was.
No, I'll get in trouble.
Go the Wars.
Get in trouble. Well, I think this is their shot too. Like Sean Johnson, is he signed for next year? Is he playing again next
I
year?
hope he does.
Adam Fanil-Blake won't
He's
be there
leaving.
He
next
won't
year.
be there next year.
So, the chance of losing some really key players there, like this, you normally have a window.
They had 3 or 4 players out too.
Yeah.
What's the
Watene-Zelezniak.
secret to? We spoke about the players, not playing in their preferred positions, and what is the? How does a coach manage the team best to get everyone comfortable to play wherever they're needed?
Well, he's honest, and then it comes back to the individual. It's team first. I'm doing what's best for the team. I don't want to play there, but team first. Simple as that.
Culture
It's the higher purpose. That's what takes the individuality out of the game, and you celebrate that. And Andrew Webster's done a great job since moving over to New Zealand and created this. Well, it's eventually a culture, but it's all actions that they consistently outlay.
Because the game's changed so much. In the days, people and kids loved teams. They grew up loving teams, jerseys, the teams their dad liked, their teams their mum liked. But now they like players. There's real superstars in our game, and that's in all sports as well, across the world. And that's where it all changes a little bit. All of a sudden, the player is nearly bigger than the team in a lot of situations. And you talk about players wanting to leave their team to go and play preferred positions. And there was a time when that was just never spoken of. It was always, the team was always spoken about, but through just kids watching superstars and wanting to be superstars more so than actually supporting a team, and that's where it's all changed.
And labelling that call ridiculous, the Bulldogs survived a stunning second-half comeback from the Roosters to secure that 30-26 win, but it was absolute carnage at Allianz Stadium on Friday night. Let's take a look at that incident with Dom Young. Do you think it was deserving of a send-off for that high contact on Blake Taaffe, or do you think you agree with Trent Robinson it should have been 10 in the bin at most?
I've been saying for a long time, when you come in from outside in, you are totally responsible for all the contact. And he hit him flush, knocked him straight out. You're totally responsible.
And that
I was against Taylor May coming in with a head clash.
Yep.
So I'm definitely against anyone that comes outside in. You just need to be careful. I know you're trying to stop things, but players are so big, fit and fast now that there's a lot of damage can be done.
It's hard to get right, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
You're
it's hard
moving,
to get right.
You're moving fast. Your opponent's moving fast. Slight change of angle. It's hard to get right. You've got to make sure that you can't make head contact. And I was with you, Freddie, with the Taylor May thing on Reece Walsh.
Yep.
You've got to come in and make a conventional tackle, and it's your duty not to hit them in the head. That's your job.
Especially outside in, when they can't see you coming and you've got the full picture. You've got it all in front of you. You've picked your mark. You've got them in the place you want them to be.
And they're looking inside. They're looking at the ball. They don't see it coming. Look at Blake Taaffe. He doesn't. He feels it coming, but he can't see it because he's looking at the ball.
But deserving of a send-off?
Well, I don't know. That's irrelevant for me. I think he's done the wrong thing. Like, he didn't mean it. You can clearly see that it's an accident, but that's irrelevant. I don't know whether send-off's 10 in the bin. I think you've just got to be more careful when you fly in like that. I think that's more the point.
There was one positive for Dominic, because that's the jumper got split. For me, it's a send-off.
He's been playing good too, Blake Taaffe. He's had a really good start to the season. He looked really dangerous early in this game, and you can see why Dominic Young felt he had to fly in at him, because he uses his pace well out the back of those blocks, and he scored the opening try in that same situation. So,
well, this was absolute carnage. There were players going down left, right, and centre.
It was a crazy game, wasn't it?
Once again, the
26-0 it was.
The left
to the
edge
Bulldogs.
defensively for the Roosters, just not on the same page.
That bloke there, Viliami Kikau.
Both edges. They destroyed him here.
No, the last couple of weeks their left's been poor, and then that first try was just comical when Blake Taaffe went through. We're probably going to talk about the Teddy concussion, but the Roosters, Freddie, are you worried?
I thought they were just out-muscled in this game. There was a lot on the line for the Bulldogs. There was the 2004 reunion, and they came out and pretty much, I thought, just literally out-muscled them. And then it wasn't until the Roosters were that far back, they'd lost a player, and they came back and scored. What did they end up scoring? 20-odd points?
Well, they scored with 11 players on the field at one stage.
Yeah, like once they got moving, but they missed the jump. They missed the jump, the Roosters. Like when I watched them early in the season, it was like, they'd worked out what their game was, and it was a bit old-fashioned, where it was about, kick and chasing and being aggressive and disciplined, and all of a sudden it was the opposite. I think they had 16 errors. They gave away a heap of penalties. It was the opposite. It was like back to what we were seeing last year.
Are you worried about James Tedesco? So he had that concussion, failed his HIA, but the history that he has, because I think they were saying that this could be maybe potentially his 10th.
You need to speak to James.
I spoke to him yesterday.
Yeah.
Said he felt okay. So he said, I want you to talk through this, Bill, about tackling techniques.
Well, we've discussed this a few times on this show, actually. Like, you've got one player going straight down the sideline, and he's 110 kilos, Viliame Kikau, going at top speed, and then James Tedesco is coming across at a 90-degree angle, and you want him to make a conventional tackle. That is not easy to do.
So that was tough too, because actually Viliame had room to move infield, didn't he? Like, a lot of times
when they changed
a
their
lot of
direction,
times you can only go to the corner.
We're talking in try-scoring situations when the bunker or the referees are saying you've got to make a conventional tackle and sprint and put your arms around. He did that then. Psst, Gonski.
That's a vulnerable position to put yourself in, and it's the correct one by the rules. It's nearly the only tackle that James is allowed to make. So it's a tough one, because I've been in that situation, and that's a really uncomfortable spot to be in, trust me. When you've got a 110 kilo flying athlete come down and he changes his direction right at that last minute.
What would you do in that situation, Bill? How would you have tackled? You don't know?
Close my eyes.
No. So it's just all instinct.
Straight across the teeth.
So you just throw yourself.
You've got to put your body in a good position to give him no choice but to come back and to go on the outside, and then you try and either get him into touch or you make a legs tackle. James has got himself right in front there.
He takes his eyes off the target.
Yeah.
If we can see the front on,
but he doesn't have that much room behind him.
So what happens? You got to get your chin on your chest, but you still got to have your eyes on the target.
That's a really courageous play.
Teddy gets to the situation. The last two steps, if we can see it again, he drops his head. If you're going to make that tackle, you get your chin on your chest, and you've got to keep your target where you're going to hit him. He drops his head and loses his technique, but his head. Watch, see, he drops his head there, takes his eyes off the target.
The other thing, like, looking at the technical side of the fullback position, the other thing he could have done earlier was get in position earlier. Like you start anticipating the line break and you're moving across there a lot earlier, so you're not coming across.
Take the meters up,
and you're not moving as fast right at the contact. So you're actually there, and we saw Dylan Edwards do it a couple of weeks ago. He does it really well, where he's moving early and he gets to the threat as it happens, rather than trying to rush there late.
And then gets there and steadies up.
Steadies up, and you're not moving as fast.
But he wanted to move in front of him. I don't know why he didn't slow down and try to invite Kikau to go for the sideline, go for the corner post.
Well,
so he needed Kikau to go to the corner post and then use his strength to push him out over the sideline. He got in front of Kikau.
But the rules don't allow you to do that. You've got to make a conventional tackle. So by the rules, he's done the right thing. It's just put him in a really awkward position.
What about for the Roosters going forward? They play Newcastle on Thursday night. We've got that game right here on 9. Without James Tedesco, it's likely they'll be without Sam Walker, because he also failed his HIA. Dom Young facing 2-game ban. Do you worry about the Roosters?
Not this week.
There's still
we saw last year.
Joey Manu might go back to fullback, which is another danger.
There's still plenty there.
Remember last year they were in all sorts, and then they went on a run. They made the semis. So no, it's not too late for the Roosters.
No way. No, not at all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was a costly one for them, but also too for the Bulldogs as well. They faced they've got a fair few players out as well. So
they've got a stack here, and they've got Melbourne.
They got the Storm.
Yeah, they've got the Melbourne Storm, and they've got a pretty big injury toll as well. We'll be having Gus on the pre-show later on this afternoon at 3 o'clock. The Broncos going down by just 2 points. They led at the break by 2 points, but there were certainly plenty of highlights out of this one. But someone in particular, Billy Elikatoa, he was our player of the match. During that game, what did you make of his performance?
I thought he was brilliant. He ran over Ezra Mam early in the match. He found some space off Jerome Hughes, but he's one of those players. He's a big lad. He's like a front rower, but he's got skills like a half. He's got a great pass in his game. He's got good footwork, good speed, got a nice relationship with Jerome Hughes on that right-hand side. He's a real player. Hadn't played a whole heap of football before going to the Melbourne Storm, but what he did do over at the Warriors, you could see that he had this class in him, and under Craig Bellamy, he's really developed his game.
Tough going for the Broncos as well. They did lose Adam Reynolds just about 20 seconds before halftime as well. They have come back with his injury, so it's a low-grade hamstring strain at this stage.
That's good.
Which is certainly positive news, the fact that it wasn't. He had a knee complaint early on in the season, but certainly
it's all the same leg. The concern is who's going to play there. Jock Madden has been going in there at different stages. I thought Billy Walters did a pretty good job in the second half. Just weighing up who they have. I think Reece Walsh should be coming back soon. Billy, you know anything about when he's coming back?
Yeah, maybe next week.
Yeah, well, that'll make a difference
positive.
to their mindset.
Does Tristan Saylor get an opportunity to play in the halves?
He was
push
very
Ezra
good.
Mam into the 7 role?
Ezra 7 and Tristan 5'8", if Reece is back.
He's passing. He came up with a couple of passes which were just outstanding. And he threw one just before that as well. He's got a lot of footy in him, Tristan Saylor.
When you've got Katoni Staggs and Selwyn Cobbo in the centres, you need... We'll talk to Josh Morris a little bit later in the show when he comes on for your segment, Joey, about that centre role and getting them some early ball. But there's some class out wide. If they can feed those players a little bit of early ball, they can do some damage by themselves without anything being created.
Would you have been tempted on the night to move Tristan into the halves then and maybe shift Selwyn to fullback, or do you think that shifting Billy there was the best choice?
I think so. I think that there's just one position. You move Selwyn out of that role defensively, and we've already seen earlier in the year when you put forwards in the outside backs, Penrith really took advantage of that. So I think the right decision was made, and it was like they were that far away from winning the game. It was a great game. I think both coaches were disappointed about their team's defensive display, but it showed me that we've got an entertaining product, and the best players get to stand out. You saw Ezra Mam, Cameron Munster came back from injury. He was pretty good. So the good players really shone.
What did you make of Cameron Munster coming back? He'd been struggling with that groin injury and was unable to train for a lot of time as well.
Yeah, and over the last couple of weeks, I've seen him at training, and he's been really energetic, bouncing around. You wouldn't even know that he has a groin injury. Be interesting to see how he's pulled up from that, and hopefully he's pulled up well and he takes the field again this week. But I thought he did his job. He's only going to get better. It's the first time in a year and a half that the spine has actually played together since 2022, actually. So for those 4 players to be on the field at the same time, they're going to grow with that continuity as well.
He didn't overplay it either. Like, there's a side of him that would have wanted to go out and impress his teammates. He hasn't played, but he didn't. He allowed Jerome Hughes to pretty much run the show. Between him and Ali Katoa, come up with the big plays, and although that showed a lot of maturity. He spoke about his combination with Sean Bloor after the game, how he was sort of out there thinking about ways he could get into the game also by helping other players. So he'll get better and better. As long as his injury keeps improving, he'll just get better.
And what about someone that we were lucky to see as well, Big Ben? He was towering, walking up and down the sideline.
6'9", is that right? Well,
205 centimetres.
how do I say this? He's still got a
Teenage
boy's
body.
Teenage. Give him 2 more off-season. This not only is he big, he's coordinated. The big blokes you usually see just at unco, and he's fast. He is going to be a weapon. Look at him.
You know he's a Queenslander?
No, please.
Where was he born?
He's a Queenslander.
Rotorua.
He's a Queenslander.
He's not a Queenslander.
So the Broncos, they've got a big clash coming up this Friday night up against the Dolphins. That game here on Friday Night Footy, live from 7:30 p.m. This is always an entertaining one. They've got the Battle of Brisbane. Both teams want to own Suncorp Stadium.
Well, Reece Walsh will want to play in this one. Payne, how far off do you know anyone?
I don't think he's back yet.
He was 4 weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I thought he had that minor knee operation.
That was a great try. Remember Katoni scored that try,
and he
picked up a loose ball or an intercept.
Yeah.
This is our
home.
And they've got some injury concerns too, the Dolphins. Obviously, Farnworth, Flegler, Felice Kafusi.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights. Action, 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour, grab a seat on the couch for that. And of course, my favourite, Freddie and the Owner.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm, subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.